Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining me today. My name is Paige Corley, and I'm with Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services. And this is a recording of one of our Healthy at Home webinars from September of 2020, which was our Falls Prevention Month. And today's topic is exercises to help you maintain and improve your balance. Let me tell you just a little bit about myself. I'm a health educator for Salt Lake County on the health promotion team. I've been here since May of 2019. I'm a certified enhanced fitness master trainer and instructor, which is one of the programs that we offer, along with certified Walk with Ease leader and certified Arthritis Foundation exercise program leader, all programs that we offer here at Salt Lake County. I got my master's of science in kinesiology in 2017. I hold various professional certifications, and I've worked in the fitness industry since 1995. My passion is definitely working with older adults. I love using exercise health. That's a big focus of mine. So let's get to the presentation here. All right. So we want to keep moving so that we can keep moving. That's the big deal, right? If you want to maintain your balance, you got to practice your balance. You got to practice it. And what we don't want to do is get caught in that fear of falling cycle, which is maybe you have a fall and you think, well, I don't want to fall again, so I'm going to stop moving. I'm just going to sit. And really what you're doing is setting yourself up for falling again by not moving. Our muscles atrophy or deteriorate, and once our leg muscles get weak, then we're at a much greater risk of falling. So we got to keep moving, and I'm going to show you some exercises that you can do to help you feel more confident and maintain your balance and therefore reduce your risk of falling. So there are a lot of balance exercises out here. I'm focusing on 3 of them, and I want to emphasize that balance exercises can be done anytime, all the time. This is not something that you need to do every other day. It's something that you can do, you can work into your day. So while you're doing dishes, or while you're standing in line at the grocery store, or while you're at Home Depot, wherever, these are things that you can do. And what I'm going to show in video, and I'm going to verbally describe what's going on in the video. We have the Tandem Stance and Walk, the side step, and the single leg stance. And again, these are all exercises that I encourage you to practice safely all the time, during the day, every day. You always want to do these balance exercises with something next to you, whether that be your kitchen counter, your dining room table, the wall along a hall in your home. Once you feel comfortable with your balance, of course, you can do them without having something to hold on to, but safety is first, right? So make sure that when you're doing these, that you are first and foremost being safe in your practice. All right, so we're going to look at the tandem stance. And again, like I said, this is a video that's on our Salt Lake County YouTube channel, and you're not going to be able to hear the audio, so I'm just going to kind of describe it. So let's see here. Let's go to about here, and you can see what I'm doing is putting one foot in front of the other. I'm right next to that counter, right? And here I'm actually walking. So if I thought this was a stance, it's not, but you can see the stance would be simply putting one foot in front of the other and just standing there. So with this one, I'm also doing the walk, which is adding that one foot in front of the other. Now in this video, I walk backwards. It's not that it's wrong to walk backwards, but that is a much more advanced stage of this practice. So you can always start simply by walking forward, especially if you have a long counter or a long hallway that you can do, and then just do a normal walk back to the starting place. But you notice I am holding on the whole time, so I'm being very safe, and I'm even just letting my fingers, you can see here, they're not touching, but they're right next to the counter. So again, safety, super important. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so I probably have these backwards. Nope, this is a tandem walk. So we know what the stance is, right? You're standing one foot in front of the other. If the tandem stance is too much for you, then what I want you to do is just put one foot in front of put your feet close together. So instead of putting one foot in front of the other, just put your feet close together, kind of like in this picture that I have here up. I'm in a very narrow stance, which is a challenge to balance. So you can always do that. You can always just take a foot in, like a stagger step, and that be another modification until you get to where you put one foot in front of the other. And of course, this was something we did as a kid, not even thinking about it. You hop up on a curb and you walk along the curb. I'm not suggesting you go do that. I would start with that tandem stance, and then you could progress to the tandem walk. But even then, I would do it on solid ground, right? That way, if you get off balance, you're not falling off the curb. All right, so that's the tandem stance and the tandem walk. Now what we're going to do are side steps. And this one is exactly what it sounds like, right? I'm going to be standing, and all I'm going to do is step side to side, right? Pretty simple. Lateral steps. Lateral steps are something that we just don't do in normal life anymore, right? We unless you're playing a sport or dancing, we really are a forward and back that's what we do, forward and back movements. So we need to practice that side movement. Because a lot of times when we get off balance, it is when we're to the side, when we have to step to the side. When do we use this? When we're walking through the grocery store. If you've been to Costco lately, you've had to juke and jive and be on your feet, and this is how we practice it. So in this video, I'm doing 10 steps one direction, 10 steps the other direction. You can simply step to one side and then back to the other side. That's fine as well. On this second round, if you see in this video, I'm taking much bigger steps. You see, so you start off small, and in time, meaning weeks or months, then you can start taking bigger steps. But that's only, of course, if you feel safe doing so. All right, so those are the balance exercises. Again, we have the tandem stance, the tandem walk, the side step, and then the last one that I don't have a video for is the single leg stance. And that one's a little bit more self-explanatory, right? That means that you're going to be standing next to a counter, again, or a wall, and you're going to lift one leg just barely off the ground. You don't need to lift your knee way up. Just so that the other leg is just barely off the ground, and then just stand there and see if you can stand there for 5 seconds. If you can, that's really good. If you can do 5 seconds, then try to do 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then work yourself up to where you're standing for 30 seconds. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you can add some arm movements in while you're standing on one leg, or even some leg movement while you're standing on one leg. But really, the idea is to get to where you can stand on one leg in good posture for an extended period of time. And again, that 30 seconds would probably do that. The single leg stance is a great one to do. Again, washing your dishes, brushing your teeth, standing in line somewhere. The tandem stance is a great one to do standing in line, especially when you have a grocery cart in front of you, because there's your balance agent right there. All right, so those are your balance exercises. Do them throughout the day, every day. It's not, you can't really overdo those, whereas now I'm going to talk about the strengthening exercises. Strengthening exercises are different than balance exercises. Strengthening exercises you want to do every other day. The American Heart Association recommends that you do a full body resistance or strength training twice a week. So you could do your whole body on Monday and your whole body on Wednesday, but you want to take a day off in between. Or you could do your lower body on Monday, your upper body on Tuesday, take Wednesday off, then your upper body on Thursday and your lower body on Friday, right? However you want to do it, you can split it up. And you don't have to only do those 2 days. You could do more than that. The key is you want to take a day off in between. All right. So let's look at the first exercise, which is the side leg strengthener. And you're going to see that I'm again up against that counter, basically, and I'm going to use that counter to be a balancing agent for me. Stand up nice and tall. I want to make sure I have really good posture. And then all I'm going to do is lift my leg just barely out to the side. It's not a far lift. Notice my upper body is staying in place. I'm not leaning to lift that leg higher. All I'm doing is working that side of my hip and the top of my glute to lift my leg out to the side. 10 repetitions, 8 repetitions. I do 8 to 12. I think that's a good area to be in. And then turn around and do the other side, just kind of lifting out to the side and lowering. Of course, you could add ankle weights to this if you wanted. I love ankle weights. I think they're a great way to spend your money, especially if you get those ankle weights that are adjustable. So the ankle weights that I have little bars in them, and you can start with half a pound, and then you can make your way up to 5 pounds per leg. So, you know, the ability to add weight slowly is there, and that's the name of the game. Adding weight slowly, not excuse me, not adding weight very quickly, or not starting off with a super heavy weight. Okay, doing these strengthening exercises with no weight is absolutely fine. But I'd love for you to use weight eventually, but you can always start with none. All right, the next one is the front knee strengthener, and this is one that you're going to have to do seated. I strongly recommend that you do this one seated. All I'm showing here is I'm short, so I don't want to sit back in my chair unless I can get my feet flat on the floor. Instead, I'm going to scoot closer so that my feet are flat on the floor. Those of you who are taller, you can sit back, but you still notice my back's nice and straight. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And then what I'm doing is extending my leg out. In this presentation, I'm holding it for about 5 seconds. You can repeat this slowly. You don't have to do the hold. The hold is great. You can also do this with ankle weights. If you have those ankle weights, you want to make sure that you don't feel the stress on your knee. And you can see that I can get my leg pretty straight. Some of you might not be able to from a past injury, or maybe you have arthritis. Only go to a extension of the knee that feels comfortable to you. We don't do the no pain, no gain here. In fact, if you have pain, you need to stop and modify what you're doing. Okay, very important. So that's the knee strengthener, and that strengthens your quadricep, which is the front of your thigh. All right, so we did the side leg lift, which did the side of the glute or the side of the thigh, and then this one does the front of the thigh. The next one's going to be sit to stand. Once again, now I don't have a great chair in this video, for example. I don't know why I didn't use that wood chair. I think because I wanted to show it with arms, you know, because some people need those arms to help themselves stand up. But you'll see my feet come off the ground. That's not what we want. You want to keep your feet on the ground. So sit to stand. The reason that I love the sit to stand, I'm going to pause this for just a second, is because this is a really important activity of daily living movement. Some people call this the squat, right? And when I tell people, hey, we're going to do a squat, I immediately get the look of, oh my gosh, no, I don't want to do a squat. I can't do a squat. But the reality is, if you're going to sit on the toilet and stand back up, you are indeed doing a squat. And so the sit to stand, to me, is one of the most functional movements that we can do, because we all want to maintain our ability to toilet ourselves for as long as we can, right? So the sit to stand is something that it's also a great exercise because it's a balance exercise. It strengthens the legs, but it also promotes balance. So this is something that you're going to want to do for sure during your strength training exercises. So you can see that I have my hands on the handles of that chair. And this is for the people who need that extra little push to stand up. Now, the problem is by standing up, I need to scoot back. And what I'm telling you here is make sure you feel that chair behind you before you sit down. That's key. And then notice I'm reaching for those handles and then sitting back down. Okay, I'm not plopping down. I'm setting myself back down. So it's a very controlled motion. Stand up, squeeze the glutes, reach for those arm holds, sit back down. Now, of course, you don't have to use the arm holds. You can simply just stand up and sit down, having your hands out to the side. And you can even make it a little bit harder by crossing your arms across your chest. So here I'm showing a modification is just using one hand on the chair. Now, again, if you're looking at this thinking, well, I can do this, I can stand up and sit down, great. Stand up and sit down, put your hands across your chest, don't swing your arms, and that's a great way to make the exercise a little bit more difficult. You can even hold something in your hands if you want. Now, this is something that I would do with like a bag of rice. I wouldn't do it with your infant grandchild, right? But it's kind of simulating that. If you were holding something and you needed to stand up, could you do it without that momentum of your arms and with balance? And a good way to do that when it's safe is like a bag of rice. Again, because if you throw that off to the ground, you're not hurting anybody. All right. So the next strength exercise we're doing is the toe raise, and this one's pretty easy, right? It's exactly what you think it is. I am standing next to a counter just to make it a little bit on the safer side. You can see in the video, I actually have a hand on the counter. Oh, this is the toe raise. Yeah, sorry. So I'm going up onto my heels. So I'm raising my toes up. And one thing that I want you to notice about me is I don't have a lot of motion. Do you see how I can't get my toes up that far? That's because I don't have great dorsiflexion. That's what we call flexion at the ankle. So this is something I really need to work on, because if you kind of guessed it, I trip over things because I can't lift my toes up. So this is an exercise that I personally need to do when I'm doing my strength training exercises. If you have good balance, you can see I'm like kind of just barely hanging onto the counter, and you can do this without holding on. But if you're going to do that, it's a lot harder. Right? You can see me, it's a lot harder. You can walk around. So we have another exercise that's called the heel walk. So you're actually up onto your heels and you're walking around your kitchen, or walking around your bedroom, or walking around wherever you are. So that's your heel walk. But and that's more of a balance exercise. The toe raise is when you're just lifting those toes. That's a great one to do seated as well. Sit down, lift those toes up, lift, and repeat it 10 times. Really focusing. So if you already have trouble, like for me, this is going to be a better exercise to do seated rather than standing, because I have such limited flexibility. For some of you, it's going to be just fine standing. All right, next is the heel raise. And this is where what most of us are used to doing, which is just getting up on our tippy toes. So again, I'm by that counter just for balance. This is the strength training exercise. You can do this with ankle weights. And all I'm going to do is go up on my toes, lift those heels, work the calves, the back of the lower leg. I'm hanging on right now. I do progress to where I'm barely hanging onto the counter, and then I have my hands by my side. Again, 10 repetitions. That goes 8 to 12 repetitions goes for all the strength training exercises. So minimum 8, maximum 12. Don't go doing 25 of them, right? Add some weight to it. If you want to turn this heel raise into a balance exercise, you can walk around on your tippy toes, right? And again, you can do that along the hall in your house and just kind of let your hands glide along that wall, and that's a good way to do that. All right, next. Oh, is that it? Let's see. It is. All right. So for our strength training, we're doing our sit to stands. We're doing our leg extensions. You know what? There's one that I have forgotten, and I'll show you. We're doing our leg extension, which is the quadricep. We're doing the side leg lifts, which is the leg out to the side. We're doing our heel raises, where we raise our heels and we go up on our toes. And then we're doing our toe raises, where we raise our toes and stay on our heels. I have one more that I don't have a video for, so I'm going to show you right now, and I'll stop sharing so that you can see my video. So I'm going to grab my chair. You'll see that I'm standing here up nice and tall, and what I'm going to do is take one leg and just squeeze my rear end back and come back to the starting position. Squeeze my rear end back and come back. And notice, just like with that side leg raise, I'm not changing my upper body at all. So I'm going to do 10 repetitions on this side, and I'm going to switch and do 10 repetitions on the other side. Squeezing the glute, belly in nice and tight. This is so we can get back in touch with those glute muscles. And the glute muscles are one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful muscle in our body. right? So we need to keep that muscle really strong while we're trying to encourage our balance. So I'm going to share my screen again. Hang in there with me. All right. So why do we want to strength train? Obviously, it helps us with our balance, right? When our legs start to lose their strength, that's when we're really at a high risk of falling. But there's another positive aspect to weight training, and that has to do with falls, and that is that when we lift weights, it really does help us with our osteoporosis, or helps us keep from getting osteoporosis, helps from sorry about that, helps us stave it off. So if you don't have it, then by lifting weights, you have a higher chance of not developing osteoporosis or osteopenia. It's one of the best ways to keep osteoporosis and osteopenia out of your life. Yes, there are pharmaceuticals, but let's try a natural way first. For those of you who need the pharmaceuticals, you can still do that, but you still need to exercise, right? Super important. So we definitely want to strength train. We want to practice our balance, but we also want to do our strength training. And we want to do upper body too. But because we're having a balance focus, I just showed those lower body exercises. Okay, we do have a class that we're offering right now called Walk with Ease. For those of you who are looking to develop a walking program, walking is a great way to keep your balance and to practice your balance. It's also a great way to do your cardiovascular exercise. So if you're interested in the Walk with Ease class, please contact me at Salt Lake County, and you can get online at Salt Lake County, or I'll tell you what my email is at the end of this. But just know that walking is a wonderful way to practice your balance, right? Dancing is a great way to practice your balance. Playing pickleball is a great way to practice your balance. We do have line dancing on the Salt Lake County website. We have line dancing. We have a lot of exercise classes on Salt Lake County on the, not the website, sorry, the YouTube channel. But if you're looking for a group, this is offered over online, but there's multiple people in this class. So you get together, we talk about walking, we warm up, we do our stretches, and then theoretically everybody goes out and walks on their own. Walking, also, of course, you can do that on your own. You can walk in your house. I know times are weird. We got a pandemic. We've been dealing with fires, although lately we've had pretty good air quality. But you can walk outside, obviously. You can go to Costco and walk. You can go to the mall. You can be socially distant, go early to the grocery stores. There are places that you can go that are inside. And if you're in one of those positions where you just can't go outside, well, walk in your house. I know it can be kind of boring, but again, walking is a great form of exercise. It's something that I really want to promote. If you need a cane or a walking device, something to help you while you're walking, use that, right? Just because you're using something like that doesn't mean that you're not getting the benefits of walking. And of course, obviously, we want you to be very safe while you're doing all of this. All right, another thing that I really am and just really passionate about, because it makes such a big difference, is practicing our posture. And this has a lot to do with our ability to balance ourselves. So I have a picture here of a person, and you can see on the left-hand side, this person is looking at their phone and bent over. And even this person has pretty good, their back is pretty straight, even looking over at the phone. But imagine if this person were to trip, right? Already there's a forward motion, their head is forward, their arms are forward, there's something in their hands. The chances of catching themselves in this position while walking is not good, right? And let's say that even this person is just standing and being static. Still, we have that head going forward, which is throwing that balance forward. Whereas on the right-hand side, this same person is standing up nice and tall. They've raised their phone up so that they can look at it without bending their head down. So that's one way if you're looking at your phone, but I wanted to point out, even on this right-hand side, this is how we want to stand. We want to have our head right over our shoulders, ears right over the shoulders, right? Nice long back, pull in your belly, lift your chest, and put your feet about hip width apart so that you have a good solid base, right? And this is something we can practice all the time, sitting at the table eating dinner, watching TV, standing at Costco, standing at the grocery store. All of these things are opportunities for you to practice your posture. If you know that your posture isn't where it needs to be, remember, practicing posture uses a lot of muscles and a lot of muscles that you might not be used to using. So start off slow, even though I'm saying do this all the time. If you know that you're already at a disadvantage posture-wise, then I put the suggestion of every hour practice posture for 3 minutes. Just stand up or sit up tall for 3 minutes, and then you can go about your business. But if you're awake for 12 hours, what's that, 36 minutes that you've added to your day of posture practice. And of course, we want to get to where you're practicing your posture all the time. So even as I'm giving this webinar, I'm trying to practice good posture. I'm sitting up nice and tall. I might be leaning forward, but I'm leaning forward with a flat back. I'm not rounding my back and letting my head jut forward. So one of the best ways we can strengthen our bodies and improve our balance is practicing posture. And we can all do that. And if you have curvature of the spine from scoliosis or from some other reality in your life, that's okay. We work with that, right? We want your posture to be the best it can be at this time. So there's nobody that I've never worked with a client that I couldn't apply this idea to. And not everybody was able to get to where they had this great neutral spine, but they got to where their posture was as good as it could be. And that is the name of the game. Remember, we need to keep moving, right? We want to start slow. We want to be consistent with whatever we're doing, make a plan, and then work your balance into your everyday routine. So again, if you're starting from scratch, don't go off the starting gate running. Start walking, start slow. Choose one of the strength exercises and try to do it every other day. And then maybe next week, if you're feeling good, add a second strength exercise and do it every other day. And yes, will it take you a while to get to where you're doing all of them? Sure, but are you still doing some instead of none? Yes, and again, name of the game, keep moving. Consistency, that's huge. Find a time that you can work these strength training exercises into your day, and maybe center it around something that's centered in your day. So most of us eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So maybe we decide, you know what, I'm going to do my strength training exercises right before I eat lunch, because you know you're going to eat lunch, right? So that's your cue. Oh wow, I'm getting ready to eat. I'm still feeling good. I'm not hungry, but I am getting ready to eat my my lunch or start prepping it. I'm going to do my side leg lifts and my glute squeezes, right? Or I'm going to do all of my lower body exercises. And then after I eat my lunch, I'm going to do 3 or 4 balance exercises. But make sure it's something that happens every day, so that brings to mind, oh, I need to do my strength exercises. If you can be consistent about it, you're going to see a much quicker and better response to doing these exercises. And then, of course, balance. Whenever you find yourself standing, practice one of those balance exercises. And again, I'm always pushing the grocery store, because we have, all of us or most of us still go to the grocery store. It's a great time to practice our moving posture, and it's a great time to practice our standing balance, like tandem stance, up on the toes, up on your heels, because we're standing around waiting in line. So try to find time to work those into what you're doing. All right, so because I'm just doing a re-recording of this, I don't have any questions, obviously, because I'm not going to ask myself questions. I do want to give you an opportunity to see what my email is, and I'm going to write it up here. Let me share my screen real quick, and I will put it up here. It is PRCORLEY at, nope, it's not that, sorry, it's PCORLEY at saltlakecountyslco.org. It's not, it can be uppercase, but it's usually lowercase. I just put it in uppercase so you can see it. PCORLEY at slco.org. That is my email. Please reach out to me if you are wanting to talk with me about anything, find links to something, need clarification about one of the exercises. And remember that you can go to youtube.com, and search for the Salt Lake County Aging YouTube channel, and that will take you to the videos. We have a ton of videos. We have videos ranging from how to clean your iPhone to balance training. There's some cardiovascular workouts on there. There's some, I have a couple of 4-part strength and circuit training series on there. We have line dancing. There's a ton of stuff, all of which, or at least most of it, maybe not the cleaning of your iPhone, will help promote balance. I even have a posture video on there that does a little 3-minute posture reset. So please use our YouTube channel, Salt Lake County Aging. And again, I really appreciate you joining me today. Please use my email, ask me questions. I'm happy to answer them. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.